Hi everyone, Tiffany Kenny with WPBF 25 News, and welcome to our Facebook Live to get parents and students ready for next week when so many kids in our area start day one of virtual learning. We know so many parents have questions, so tonight this Facebook Live is for you. It is all about getting ready to go back to school from a distance. Joining me live is Diana Fedderman, the Assistant Superintendent of Teaching and Learning for the Palm Beach County School District. Diana, thank you so much for joining us and taking some time out of what we know has been a very busy schedule for you guys for the past few weeks. And for those of you watching, if you have any questions, send them to us right now on Facebook and we will try to get them answered. Diana, first and foremost, what does the district want parents and students to understand about this digital learning process?
Well, I think really the most important thing is that it's new. And we recognize that it's new. And we ask our parents and our students to be reassured that we are being flexible. We are all in this together, that we know our students are going to be successful. We are ready for them to be successful, but also to be reassured that we are here to support them in all of the ways that they need support, and that by working together, we will get them there. Our kids will be okay. We will work there. Our first week, our first couple of weeks, we know that there might be some bumps in the road. We have uplifted this platform very quickly because of what's happening in the world right now. And so we all have to understand that, it might be a little bumpy for the first few days, but that's okay. And I think that by working together, and our teachers who are amazing are already reaching out to our students, and our students working with their teachers, by being together, I think they'll be very successful.
You're right.
So I think that's really that first piece, is that our students will be okay working through that platform.
Yeah, we have actually heard from 3 or 4 of our teachers already, so it was awesome that they sent out emails. One of them even had a Zoom session with all the kids the other day, so it's been really awesome from that standpoint. Let's talk about, because it is a learning process, especially more so for the parents who've never really dealt with Google Classroom. So can you talk a little bit about what is a Google Classroom, and do all the teachers already have them set up?
So yes, our teachers have Google Classroom set up, and what it is an online classroom. So it's a virtual room where our teachers have set up classrooms, and they've invited our students in already, and they post work, post assignments, post discussion questions, and they will hold virtual class where our students will then be able to enter into these rooms, answer questions, send in their assignments, have discussions with their classmates, have discussions with their teachers, and be able to complete and submit their assignments. I think also an important note for our parents is that the last couple of years, Palm Beach County Schools, we've been working on this technology platform. So many of our teachers in elementary, middle, and the high schools have set up Google Classrooms. So for many of our students, working in Google Classrooms is not going to be a new concept. It's going to be very familiar for many of them. And then for the other teachers that hadn't set it up, that's something that they have been working on. So we are ready for Tuesday, and we're excited for this. It's a new adventure. It's new and it's different, but our kids are going to be ready for it.
Yeah, you kind of have to look at it as an adventure, I think, for sure. And so tell parents and students, if they're listening, how attendance will be taken, because I think that's one of the concerns is like, well, how do I show up to class with Google Classroom?
And I think that's really where we have to understand 2 pieces here, flexibility and patience. And that's something for all of us. So as a school system, we understand that the concept of attendance, the way it was taken when we were all showing up to classrooms every day, that system doesn't really work in a distance learning environment. So our teachers and our principals, we're being flexible right now. So we will have attendance, a way of making sure that our students are participating in this learning environment, but it's going to be a little different. So for example, if students attended English class during first period from perhaps 8 o'clock to 8:45, they don't have to necessarily be in front of that computer from 8 o'clock to 8:45, because we understand that we have, in some cases, we have siblings sharing one device with a family, Or perhaps you have parents working at home and they're trying to shift around computers and devices between the parents working and the children. Or perhaps students and their families are having to go to one of our school centers in order to pick up food at any of our distribution sites. So the students will be with the parents. We understand all of these different facets. So we're working with our families and we're being very flexible because we understand these things are happening. So we want our children to participate, and that's how we're going to take attendance.
So really the kids and the parents, depending on what the situation is at home, whether they need to go to one of the food distribution sites or because the parent is working at home, they really can set their own schedule in terms of when they pop into that Google Classroom, when they kind of get their assignments and then work on them. So they really work at their own pace at home.
And about communicating, the teacher is going to communicate with the students and with the families you'll start to see some communications on Monday if they haven't already, because as you said, many of our teachers have reached out to their students already. But if not, you'll start seeing those communications come in on Monday before learning starts on Tuesday. And they'll set up some of those guidelines to check in. But yes, our students are going to be working at their own pace, because they'll be working at different times.
Well, that was actually a question that just came in from Jessica. She said, what if you haven't heard from your child's teacher yet? Should they expect to hear from them on Monday? You know, teachers have been on spring break, even though most of them have been working through this entire week and last week trying to set up the Google Classrooms, but they are also on their break. So there is a chance that parents they haven't heard from their teachers yet, correct? When should they expect for sure to hear from them? By Monday?
So our teachers technically come back from work on break on Monday, but as you noted, and as just a lot of people have noted, our teachers work so many hours on nights and our weekends that aren't during their time. Our teachers have been working diligently, always have, and especially now when they're trying to get their Google Classrooms running. We are so incredibly blessed to work with the teachers we work with in our school district. And they want our children to be successful, and they've been working so hard to get these tools up and running. So the students will start hearing from teachers on Monday, and then definitely by Tuesday once that learning starts.
Okay, I've got a question from Gerald here, Diana. He wants to know, how will this play out for seniors?
So they will attend Google Classroom the same. We will make sure that we get all of our students will have everything they need in order to be successful. So, and our seniors, no different. So they will still attend the classes that they have. And in many cases, our seniors don't have quite as many classes, but they will still be able to attend and get their courses in order to complete and finish up their high school degrees as well.
This question is from Deanna, who writes, what about children with learning disabilities? Now, they probably, I know at every school there is an ESC director who probably at this point, would they have been in contact with them? Are they providing certain accommodations for them at home that the same type that they would get in a classroom setting?
So we definitely are still going to provide, to the best of our ability, support and services for our students with learning differences, because that is incredibly important during this time. It might look a little bit differently because it's being done virtually than if it was being done in the classroom, but we still want to ensure that we provide support and services to our students with learning differences. Absolutely.
Diana, we're seeing video right now of parents picking up laptops, picking up technology. What do parents do if they still don't have a device yet, a laptop, and what if they don't have Wi-Fi?
So two things. If they don't have a device, we are absolutely still deploying devices. We want to make sure that we put a device into the hands of all of our families that need one for virtual learning. So they should email their child's principal in order to ensure that they can get a device. So if a family still has not picked up a device for their child, they should email their child's principal, and that way they can get access. So email the child's principal. For internet, we have been working with Comcast, and Comcast has offered through their Internet Essentials plan. So that's internetessentials.com. They have a plan to offer free Wi-Fi for 2 months and also offering hotspots. So that's a way they can access the Wi-Fi. So both of those are suggestions for parents to reach out to.
All right, and Rhonda writes, how do we know what time for the classes? This really speaks to what you talked about a few moments ago, which is it's really up to you in the house to kind of check in on your own. You don't have to show up at a specific time for each class.
And also, just like in virtual school is going to be in many ways, even though our students don't leave our house to attend. In many ways, though, there's a lot of similarities to when they go to a brick and mortar school, right? When they go to a traditional school. Your first piece of advice is going to come from your child's teacher. So I would really strongly suggest to parents, when they have questions on Tuesday when school starts, if they're not sure, do I need to turn this? Does my child need to turn this in here, or where should I go? Just as if before this started, when they had questions about what was going on in the classroom and they would reach out to the child's teacher, I would strongly suggest to our parents do the same thing. Our teachers are here to help our students and want them to be successful, so that is the best place for them to reach out to.
Okay, so speaking of students being successful, what would be your advice to parents about setting up their homes so that the kids can be successful? I mean, what are your tips in terms of setting up a virtual school in the house?
So you want to have a quiet space, just like they had homework space when students were going to school and you had a homework spot for them to work. Same thing. You want a place where they can work quietly, where they have all of the materials that they need. Still, they are going to need, even though they have a device and it's virtual, they are still going to need paper and pencils, pens in order to work out problems or to draft something for their literacy class. Any of their supplies that they need in order to work, that's what you're going to want to have right there for them.
And Diana, don't you think it's important for parents to kind of help the kids stick to a routine? You know, I know like there have been elementary school teachers who have shared kind of what they do in class each day at what time to kind of maybe help facilitate those things at home.
Absolutely. I think routines are really important, especially for our littlest ones. Those routines can be really important. Also, though, making time for the stretch breaks, for getting up and moving, for just, even if it's just walking around the house, just having those times to get up and stretch and not just staring at the screen, those are also really important. So they want both, right? You want those routines, but also this is not regular school. So we want to make sure our students are getting up and they're stretching. They're having time to have conversations, either with siblings, with parents in the house, with caregivers, to get up so they're not just always looking at the computer screen as well.
Yeah, that's great advice. It's going to be a shock to my teenagers' systems on Tuesday because it's been 2 weeks, you know, of kind of not a lot of routine. So
exactly.
What resources, Diana, do you have to help students and parents prepare ahead of Tuesday? I know there is a website. I also know we have the phone number up right now, which is 561-969-5840. This really is like a helpline. So if you find yourself next week, you know, and you're not able to figure out what's going on, parents can call that number for some help.
Absolutely. So you can definitely call that number for some help. That's a hotline. But I think also a lot of parents might be able to find exactly what they need on our website. So I'm going to give you a website, and that is palmbeachschools.org/distance learning. So palmbeachschools.org/distance learning. And by going to that particular site, they're going to find a lot of information, stuff that I've told you this evening, and then some additional information about FAQs for parents to get some answers to their questions about support for students, for our ESE students, and then some additional questions about that hotline, some additional questions about device distribution, and then also some questions about our television broadcast schedule, because something else that we are doing to ensure that we're providing our lessons in a wide variety of formats is that we are broadcasting through a few different television channels. We're broadcasting our lessons. So if a student, because either sharing devices or they're not able to access Wi-Fi, if a student wants to watch their second grade math lesson, we have that airing on a television channel. So they can turn on the TV channel and watch the second grade math lesson.
That's really
So we have all of that information, including the broadcast, entire broadcast schedule, and exactly which stations on that site as well. So that's palmbeachschools.org/distance learning.
That's a great resource there. Brianna writes, is it realistic to expect students and teachers to live stream for 6 hours a day? But as we've been discussing here, and she might have missed the first part of our discussion, it's not a live stream for 6 hours a day. It's you're checking in online into a classroom. Now, some teachers might have live sessions with their kids, probably more at the high school level, I would imagine. But it's not a live stream of 6 hours a day where you're sitting in your home in front of the computer and you're following your teacher along. Let's go back and clarify some of that in case people are just joining us.
Absolutely. So it's definitely not a live stream for 6 hours a day. And we might, though, you might have Google Meets, which is what we're using since we're using Google Classroom. We use Google Meets, which is that live web, session where they can see each other and have live interaction. You might have a Google Meet even with our youngest students. That way they can have communication. So they have that sense of normalcy, as we were talking about earlier. So
and socialization with their peers.
Exactly. They can see each other and talk to each other. They can talk to the teacher. So we certainly might set those up, not with the expectation that they're all talking to each other for 6 hours a day,
right?
But in order to offer that as a support system, especially, and to provide that support. So especially in our elementary and our younger ones, they might have a morning meeting, which is a check-in time that some of our elementary schools have used in order to have a time to check in with their students. They might offer those sessions. You might see a time where teachers post up office hours, so students can always pop in and just ask questions. So it may not be a requirement, but it might be a chance of, here, I did do the lesson that you offered, but I was struggling a little bit with these questions, so I could come in and ask questions about the homework assignment because I didn't quite understand something, and I want to talk to a live person to get a little bit of help.
Right, and parents should understand too that those Google Meets, they would not be mandatory because, as we've discussed, we have to be flexible in terms of whether, there could be several people sharing that device in a home. And so even though there might be a live Google Meets in a classroom, it doesn't necessarily mean that you have to be there at that time, right?
It's flexibility.
Yep.
It really is about flexibility.
Well, I know that it's going to be, as you said, there will be some bumps next week, but it's an enormous undertaking for the Palm Beach County School District. Before I let you go, Diana, any last words that you want to say to parents and students who are watching this Facebook Live?
I just am so appreciative of how everyone has really worked together and come together in our entire community, whether it's different community organizations that have assisted us in ensuring that we have devices, that there's food in our centers, the entire staff of the Palm Beach County School District, our families, our students, the fact that everyone is coming together to ensure that this is successful, that our families and our students have what they need in order to be successful, really is a testament to how amazing Palm Beach County is. So I'm just proud resident, proud to be here.
Oh, and I'm proud too. I'm a product of the Palm Beach County School District, so I'm super hashtag public proud is what I always say. So good luck to you guys next week. We will hopefully be able to check back in with you, Diana, because maybe after we get into 1 week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, there might be some changes or some transitions or maybe some tips that you guys have found as you embark on this new adventure here in Palm Beach County. Diana Fedderman, the Assistant Superintendent with the Palm Beach County School District, thank you so much for your time tonight. Good luck next week.
Thank you.